My father said, "Walking you down the aisle would be disrespectful to your stepmother," 2 weeks before my wedding. I was sitting in my childhood bedroom, looking at old photo albums when my father knocked on the door. I'd come over to pick up my grandmother's pearl necklace that I wanted to wear at my wedding. He sat down on the edge of my bed and told me he needed to talk to me about something important. I figured he was going to get emotional about his little girl getting married. Instead, he told me that he wouldn't be walking me down the aisle. He explained that my stepmother Diane felt it would be inappropriate for him to walk me when he'd already walked her daughter Kennedy down the aisle 3 years ago. I asked him how that made any sense. He said that Diane believed it would look like he was playing favorites if he did the same thing for me that he did for Kennedy. I reminded him that I was his actual biological daughter, and that Kennedy was his stepdaughter of 8 years. He said that biology didn't determine family, and that I needed to be more considerate of Diane's feelings. I asked him whose idea this really was. He admitted that Diane had brought it up, but that he agreed with her logic. I sat there trying to understand what I was hearing. My father had walked a woman's daughter from her first marriage down the aisle at her wedding, but refused to do the same for his own flesh and blood, because it might upset that same woman. I asked him if he understood how backwards that sounded. He told me I was being selfish and that marriage was about compromise. I said I wasn't married to Diane, so I didn't need to compromise with her. He said that comment was exactly the kind of attitude that made Diane feel unwelcome in our family. I wanted to scream that Diane had made me feel unwelcome in my own family for the past 8 years, but I knew it wouldn't matter. My father had chosen his side a long time ago. I took my grandmother's pearls and left without saying goodbye. When I got home, I told my fiancé Nathan what happened. He was furious on my behalf and offered to talk to my father man to man. I told him not to bother because my father's mind was made up. Nathan asked who I wanted to walk me down the aisle instead. I said I'd walk myself before I gave my father the satisfaction of seeing me beg. The next 2 weeks were torture. Diane called me 3 times to explain that she hoped I understood her position, and that she really did see me as family. I didn't answer. Kennedy texted me saying she'd heard what happened and that she thought her mom was being ridiculous, but that she didn't want to get involved. I didn't respond to her either. My father sent me an email that was clearly written by Diane saying that he loved me, and that he hoped I would come to see this as an opportunity to show my independence as a modern woman. I deleted it without finishing. The day of my wedding arrived and I felt strangely calm. My mother had passed away when I was 12, and I'd always imagined my father being there for the big moments she couldn't attend. But I'd learned to stop expecting things from him years ago. The ceremony was held at a vineyard outside of town. Nathan's family filled one side of the aisle, and my small collection of aunts and cousins and friends filled the other. My father and Diane and Kennedy sat in the second row, because I'd asked my aunt to make sure they weren't in the front. When the music started, I walked down the aisle alone. I kept my head high and my eyes on Nathan, waiting for me at the altar. I didn't look at my father. I didn't need to. The ceremony was beautiful, and Nathan cried when he said his vows, which made me cry too. After we were pronounced husband and wife, we walked back down the aisle together and everyone cheered. At the reception, my aunt gave a toast that made everyone laugh and then cry. Nathan's father gave a toast that welcomed me to their family with so much warmth that I almost lost it completely. Then it was time for the father-daughter dance. I'd removed it from the program weeks ago, but I hadn't